Ow!
How?
Let's try that again. Hi!
Did you pronounce his name correctly this time?
Doyle.
Saito.
Saito? Sai?
Sai.
Sai, okay.
It's
Hi
like-
everybody, we're here to visit Doyle Saito this week.
Hi.
Hi everybody, we have Doyle here today. He's gracious enough to invite us over to check out his house and some of his trees and give us some tips about growing bonsai here in Southern Cal and Torrance, California. Thank you, Doyle.
It's pretty easy here because it doesn't get really hot. We get morning fog, afternoon fog, sun only during the day. Just water, spray a lot, and that's pretty much it.
And that's kind of the advantage of living by the coast, correct? You're about 3 miles away from the beach.
Right.
So, I mean, there's some advantage versus where I am inland, which is like hotter than hell. And then the Santa Ana is killing us out there. So you have a huge advantage of growing out here by the coastline here.
True, yes.
So I'm jealous. So let's check out Doyle's yard here. Doyle just gonna walk us through. And as he's wearing his Daiichi shirt, he's really supporting his club here.
He made me change.
I did not make him change at all. So let's check out his backyard. I am jealous because I don't even have a yard like this anymore. Look at this. It's awesome. So Doyle, how long have you been on this property?
About 25 years.
Awesome. And then it didn't look like this.
When we moved in, it was just a backyard of grass.
Nice.
So it's evolved over time.
I could see. Kind of your favorite trees that you have? One or two maybe? You wanna talk about? Or even your best story. Tell me your trees with the best stories you have.
My best story. There's a few.
All right,
but
let's kind of.
okay. This is my freshwater cisterns that you have.
But you gotta see what's inside them. They're little.
I maintain the water with goldfish.
So yeah, no mosquitoes, right?
No mosquitoes.
And do you use this water to water your trees with?
So I use it to water new trees and most of the other trees, but there's certain ones that I like to water, like the maples and some other that are.
Do you have any azaleas?
Not anymore, they all died.
Oh, so okay, so water too hot, too cold.
The azaleas would live in one corner of the yard, north exposure, shade,
Why is that?
because it didn't like the heat. It had to have non-drying air, and I had to use this type of water to water it.
But you're like by the coastline. I mean,
It doesn't matter. Like there's a azalea in the front. As long as it's underneath the shade of the tree, close to the house, they'll grow and they'll thrive.
but that's in the ground, correct? That's
No, it's in a pot.
It's in a pot. Oh, we have to look at that later because some people are, are interested in azaleas growing in Southern Cal here, and then I always tell them, go to Nuccio's, go buy a $5 tree, see if it lives, and then if it does, then you might want to think about it. But these are Satsuki, so
They're all pretty much the same here in
Okay.
Southern California. The lack of water, good water, and no humidity.
so
Airplane.
yeah, that lack of good water is really good.
I think that's the key.
Yeah, it's key.
Unless you have reverse osmosis, it's pretty hard to do. So this is Kingsville, Boxville. It belonged to Lila Kasumi. She's had this tree for probably 45 years. Back in the 70s, early 80s, CBS had a show with Melba Tucker. And this is one of Melba's, this is what she did. She made it Psyche. And she basically bought this at the auction during the convention.
So Melba Tucker was a proprietor of doing Psyche, correct?
Psyche, bonsai as well. She was one of the early practitioners.
Psyche.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty very cool. And this is a boxwood, and they all look very similar age-wise. I mean, boxwoods, when you make a forest, it's really hard to get the age to kind of look really convincing. And these guys are pretty beefy. Look at those pretty beefy ones. Those are pretty awesome. Any plans for the future for this tree?
I'm debating whether to send it to Ted Madsen at the Huntington. I have to give him a call and see what he wants to do.
That'd be awesome. Do you have a lily tree out there?
I don't know if they do.
That'd be a great way to keep
Yeah,
remembering.
that way I don't have to worry about
Oh,
keeping it
taking care
alive.
of it.
Yeah.
Any suggestions about boxwoods?
I just keep this in the shade, keep it away from the hot afternoon sun, and
Pretty bulletproof.
yeah.
Oh, that's pretty awesome to hear.
You can look around.
We're
Oh,
gonna look around.
okay.
It's like in California, that's all set and go. There's a court park pine right here. Look at this liquid amber. Hey Doyle, you want to talk about your benches really quick? I know if people are watching from home, I'm trying to build a new bench system, and the asphalt, this tile asphalt.
They're just basic 8-inch cinder blocks. I haven't cemented these together like a lot of people do, but what I'll do is the centers of these have 4x4 posts. So they basically have posts in between the blocks, so in case of an earthquake, they're not going to fall. They may tumble, but they're not going to fall.
So unlike my video I did earlier with the outdoor stand with nothing inside,
Yeah.
that just kind of holds everything together.
Yeah.
Versus just kind of like tumbling.
In case of an earthquake, when they disperse, they move, they're not going to fall apart. And it's just standard 2x12 boards on the bottom and roofing, flat
Do you like
tile
the
roofing.
Do you like the asphalt roofing on top? Your dislikes, advantages, disadvantages?
It keeps the wood a little bit healthier. I don't go through as much. It doesn't rot. I can just wash the debris off the top.
Okay, so some advantages.
Yeah.
How about the sand debris? Because the asphalt kind of degrades over time. You see any
Not too much
issues?
problem. I have mostly everything on stands or wood stands, so the bottom pots really don't make a difference.
Can we talk about your pines? I know some people are interested in pines, especially living in the coastline. Do they do well here? They don't? Some suggestions? Oh, that's a nice notice that. Right, blooming season too.
Yeah, that's from Nuzios, actually.
No, those are new
Yeah. Pines on the coast, the biggest problem I think is overwatering. They like to be dry. So if you overwater, that's why a lot of them are yellowing. So when we had the heavy rain season, I didn't bring them indoors, so they just got saturated.
You actually bring them indoors? Or you cover them?
Well, you can cover them. Just put them under the benches or bring them underneath. Because if it gets too saturated, then it starts to rot, the root structure. So I have well-drained soil, but it'll just drop through. But the ones that have collect on the bottom, that's the problem.
So you're saying that I don't grow pines very often, so this is still kind of foreign to me. So you're saying that they like it moist, but they don't like wet feet?
They don't necessarily like it moist. They like to go. They like to be dry.
Well-draining soil. Then.
Well-drained soil.
What kind of mix are you using for your the standard 1/3?
Pretty much. I'll use. A lot of times I'll use sponge rock instead of pumice. But if I have pumice, I'll use it as well.
What's sponge rock?
It's more of a. Sponge rock is more of a. What is it? It's plastic. It's a polyurethane.
Okay.
So it's not. There's not as much powder, and it's pretty. It doesn't break down.
Oh, pretty cool. Hey, Doyle, you want to talk about your quince and some suggestions with quinces, especially in Southern Cal?
Quince are pretty finicky. Like this one kind of looked like that. There was a lot of center structure, but that all died off.
Well, what do you mean they die off?
Well, I repotted at the wrong time. I tried to repot early at the same time, like spring, but if I ended up repotting later in the year, September, closer to fall.
The second repotting season, as they call it.
That's other than that, a lot of times they'll do fine at the early spring and then they'll die off later in the year. So I don't know why. I was told that by Kenji Miyata.
And Kenji's really good with quinces.
I got scolded for that. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I just noticed this flowering pear.
Yeah.
Was it a street tree? Was it a?
Kinda, yeah. One of those gets knocked down and thrown away.
So it is a street tree.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to purchase one of these things for a long time. I found out they're invasive.
Yeah, they are.
So they don't sell them like.
You can buy them because like Torrance still use them. If you go through a wholesaler, they'll still get them.
But you can't buy because I'm trying to like go to nurseries and they're like some nurseries say you don't care because they're invasive.
You can try cuttings because they basically, I think you just break a branch off and
stick them in the ground.
Stick them in the ground.
So here's some questions about flowering pear. I've seen some that like this. I don't see the flowering, but do they flower only, or do they have flowers and leaf at the same time?
I think they flower and have leaves at the same time. It's not.
Is this an evergreen?
Because
I've seen both varieties. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, there are. Torrance has a whole. We have a lot of these growing throughout the city. So there are. They have leaves. They don't have leaves, but it's kind of hit and miss as far as which variety. But I don't know which tree is which as far as when it's planted.
If anybody out there that has one for sale, looking for one.
Dr. Che has one for sale.
Dr. Che has one. You know, I have not met Dr. Che before.
He's got a really nice one.
I've never met the man before. I heard his name. You know.
You need to visit his yard.
I think I need to. Does anybody know him personally? I can contact me. Dr. Che, you're watching. I'd love to, you know.
Just go to the Huntington. He'll be there.
Okay, everybody has one of these olives. You got to talk about your olive here. Yes, it's impressive, but is there some disadvantage having an olive tree this large?
It's very heavy.
Okay, you have to put your hand by it so people see how big this tree is. Cause
this tree came out of the Torrance Airport where the Ishibashi Farms used to be. It was actually in a 15-gallon pot. So we went over there when they were closing. We just dug up quite a few.
It was supposed to be a yard tree, basically.
Well, he had some that were like 20 feet tall, and these were all the small ones around the sides.
So what are some disadvantages having a big tree? I know it's romanticizing. Everybody wants these big. It has a presence. It does have a presence.
If you're young and you can lift these and move these, then it's fine. But I had it over here and I moved it to here, and that's the only places I go because I have to prune it in place because I can't pick it up.
So that's some of the disadvantages of having a really powerful tree like that.
Right.
Size-wise,
it's just very
too heavy.
It's very dense. Yeah.
Especially an olive. Olive is not lightweight.
No, and the pot is pretty heavy, so the pot is heavy.
So would you ever if you bring it to a show, how would you bring it to a show? I see Tom Vaughn. Tom, if you're watching this, I have massive respect for you, man.
Tom has a technique. He slides his truck in, and he has sliding boards on his lift tables, and everything is done by push and pull. You can do it that way, but to get it on the stand is hard without scraping the heck out of the stand. Or if you have to use a slab, that's about it.
Oh, we gotta go back to Tom. I gotta ask Tom these questions because he has it down like to science.
Yes, he can have this tree in and out of his yard in 5 minutes.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I do see a couple interesting trees in the background. The toshos. You want to talk about those guys? No.
No, not really.
Not really.
They're just cuttings.
They're just cuttings. Do you have? What's the oldest tree you have in your collection? Not oldest tree that you have worked on. Do you have your first tree?
I do have my first tree.
You do have your first tree. Can we see your first tree?
It's not very big.
Okay, so most people don't have their first tree, or they sold it, or they killed it, and it's amazing. Oh my God, he still has an elm. That's a nice pot, by the way. Gabe's?
It's a guy out of San Diego. I don't know his name.
Oh, that's
He made some nice pots.
That's a nice tree, Doyle. I would keep that tree, you know?
The first tree I showed.
That's the first tree you showed too?
Yeah.
How old is that tree? Oh, wow.
It's like 10 years old.
So who did you train under, by the way?
I started in Torrance with a lady named Penny Jensen. She was an old teacher with CBS. And then Leela Kusumi, Mel, and then Kenji Miyata.
So you had a lot of
Yeah.
mentors during the years. What are one or two tips that you could probably give beginners or even veteran about this art form?
The biggest thing is to be patient. It's not, you can't rush things. You can't make it quickly, or you can try to make it quickly.
There's no shortcuts.
But there's no shortcuts. Most of your teachers will basically yell at you and scold you. Not now, because they don't do that now. It's not right. But the old guys would basically put you in front of everybody and basically berate you in front of everybody. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Doyle, for your time today. I'm going to take some more videos of this one. I'm probably going to ask you about your ground cover. I'm to that point where I'm designing the floor too. So I might have to pick your brain on that idea after the camera shot here.
Okay, I'm done, right?
Yeah, you're done.
All right, cool. You can show them the torso.
Your toe show.
So these are all from like 2017.
So if you don't know about that, that's pretty cool.
This is a
Pomegranate.
black pomegranate from Ted Madsen. Those are cuttings from a demo Ted did.
What is that thing?
This?
Yeah,
This is a fingerling lime.
that doesn't look like a line. That doesn't even look like a fingerling line.
Yeah, it doesn't. They're usually long and
Yeah.
slender.
It's a mutant.
You're still
You
Mike.
gotta talk about the Silverberry. What's the story behind that one?
I got that at the David Bergstein sale. And
Oh, the
Yeah.
guy up where
someone said they bought it, they tagged it, and no one picked it up. So I bought it.
it's an impressive Silverberry.
Yeah, I was surprised it was still there. It needs to get cut back.
Wow, this. Look at so Silverberry is known for the leafage. The leafage is silver on the background, and it has these satchel-like flowers or fruits when they're done. But that's pretty impressive with a deadwood carving. Someone spent. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a nice tree.
It's an awesome tree. I'm jealous. I didn't get a chance to go to that sale. I wanted to, but I think it was a fire. It was a fire going on that
It was
week.
very hot. We were working the sale. It was 120 in the shade, 118
That's
in the
right.
shade.
It was a fire going on. I think
Yeah.
it was a fire going on. It was 120.
We watched trees die in front of us during the day. They basically started with a green canopy, and at the end of the day,
dried
it was
out.
just brown.
Oh man, I remember. I remember. I was like, my wife says, "You're not going." It's Woodland Hills, wasn't it?
Past Woodland Hills.
Okay. It was pretty. Yeah. Did you pick up anything else there? This is pretty cool.
Yeah,
too.
I couldn't afford anything else really. I was just lucky that was still
That was
there.
still there?
Yeah.
Awesome. that black pine, the Bunjin style.
That's the one that Bjorn worked on at one of our meetings.
That's right. You guys, if you didn't know, Daiichi really brings these guest artists in for an additional day, correct? As a workshop for your club members.
Workshop and a meeting, yeah.
So it's another great advantage of joining Daiichi is you know, they have another day with the guest artists, so it's not just a one deal demo and they're in and out. They have another like a day and a half usually.
Right. We try to get people, or even if you're not having a tree to work on, to come in and see
Yeah,
what's going
observe.
on. Yeah.
Another way to learn. I mean, instead
Yeah.
of having a tree directly, you may not even have a quality tree good enough, but you get to learn some of the techniques while you're there.
Right. We had quite a few people just to see how he wires, how he attaches guy wires, what's his his thought process on how to bend and what to do. It's pretty impressive.
Pick his brain. He's got to pick his brain
Yeah.
out. That's kind of nice to have. I know we're still in COVID. Are you guys having plans for your show? You guys are having face to face.
We're trying to look at a virtual show because our center's not going to be open in May.
Unfortunately, just
Right.
like everything in LA.
Maybe later in the year, but we still have to look into the possibility
Face to face.
face to face. Probably just the show and not a hands-on workshop type of environment.
Unlike, because you usually have that beginner workshop.
Right.
At the on Saturday.
That's kind of a tradition, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe an online demo instead.
We're finding that's really hard to learn. You can watch it, but it's not.
It's not the same day.
It's not the same. Yeah, it's a two-dimensional view of a three-dimensional art, so it's really hard to understand the depth and the complexity of a tree
Without seeing it.
without seeing it.
in person.
Yeah.
That is true.
So you were asking about, do I own anything from Harry?
Yes.
There's 2 stones. Those are the only things I own from Harry. I don't
Okay,
have a tree
so-
from Harry.
So, having something from Harry, it's a tradition in Southern Cal.
Right.
Harry was very generous during his time when he was alive. I don't have a tree from Harry. I do have a stone from Harry.
They're stones.
And stones, as Big Joe always says, you know what? Stones don't die. They live
That's right.
forever. You don't need water.
No water. Yeah.
It's impressive. I presume it's an Eel River stone.
I think so.
It's an Eel River stone.
It's an Eel River stone. And there's a small Arizona sandstone.
Oh, it is the Eel River stone. Look at that. So Eel River stone, really known for the wearing in the river, and it's really dark blue, almost greenish. Some people think it's almost like a California jade sort of material, but it's interesting. So you do have something. It's kind of cool.
Not a tree, though.
Not a tree.
No.
Not a tree. Thank you, Doyle, for your time today. I really appreciate this.
Thanks for coming out.
And if you guys like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later, man. See you. Thanks a lot, Doyle.
Thanks.